I can tell you why he can't get a. I can tell you why he can't get a Hulk TV. A Hulk movie.
What's that?
It's because they don't have the rights. Marvel doesn't have the rights to the Hulk.
Doesn't Universal have the rights?
Yeah, they do.
They do. Yes.
Rights. They don't want to let that shit go. Universal's not doing nothing with it, but leasing out to the MCU and getting money. They want to hold on to them rights. At least with Sony, while they're trash, they're at least making animated Spider-Man movies, like making something out of the rights that they're using. Universal is solely just relying on their studio, their Hulk attraction and shit, and the MCU Hulk stuff. They haven't done any movies since 2003 about the Hulk.
Actually,
They don't need to.
08, because the Hulk movie came out in 08.
They screwed up the best. They screwed up one of the best storylines, so it's irrelevant anyway.
Well, that was at the time it was Paramount and Universal. They leased out to another studio to do it, like Paramount and shit. So it wasn't really.
They screwed up World War Hulk. They screwed up the ability to have Planet Hulk. They screwed up the ability to have World War Hulk. They screwed up They screwed up the Hulk's biggest one of the Hulk's biggest storylines. So I'm not going to miss it. I'm not missing anything.
Well, they screwed it up because they had to, because of the thing with
Universal. They didn't have to incorporate it. That's the thing. They
and
did not have to
screwed up the Hulk.
Hulk is part of the Avengers, though. They didn't have to do them in Ragnarok. I agree.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't have to give that little piecemeal addition, and now you've ruined the entire possibility of having that. That could have easily been a 3-movie storyline.
Yeah, but this clip right here explains exactly how all of that happened.
And Taika Waititi is such a big fan of the comic books, so he knew what he was doing.
Hello, guys. Let me play the clip real quick, and we can talk about it and trash Mark Ruffalo and his whole character.
A lot of personal things, oddly enough, in a superhero movie.
Do you get involved in the scripts?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, like, what would you like to do? And he said, what would you do if you had a standalone Hulk movie? And I said, well, I'd like to take him from this raging maniac to kind of this integrated character. And he's like, okay, we'll do that over the course of 4 movies. We'll never give you a standalone Hulk. Let's just get that.
Is that real? Is that true?
I don't mean to burst your bubble, but that's just not going to, I don't mean to burst your bubble either, but I don't mean to burst anyone's bubble, but that's not happening. So we'll do it over 4 movies. How's that sound?
Yeah, is that still true?
As far as I know.
Technically, it is true, because what? Avengers 1, no, Incredible Hulk, Avengers 1, Avengers 2, Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War. So his arc he went through an arc pretty much since
he didn't go through an arc.
So hold on, Nerdman Jr. This is what you're.
This is a bullshit arc. It's a bullshit arc, but whatever arc he's talking about, he got it.
This is what you're entering evidence.
He just randomly shows up in each movie and has changed for whatever reason.
It's a bullshit arc.
You don't know why he's changed. You don't know why he's changed in Thor Ragnarok. You don't know why he's changed in the End Game. What happened? Why
they were working off of Zack Snyder's notes.
Goes from I get angry. What was that? What was that?
Do you
think they were working off of Zack Snyder's notes?
Do you think Kevin Feige let Mark Ruffalo exactly know what he was going to do? This is a guy who spoiled the ending of Infinity War during one of his interviews.
It's very funny. I like the the sass. But let's be real here. There's no fucking arc for the Hulk in those movies.
Where is it?
Professor Hulk? Does anyone ever explain that? What point did he
closest they came
become one character?
The closest they
came character. Sorry,
I was gonna say the closest they came to an arc for Hulk is, I forget which movie it is, but he leaves on the Quinjet. And
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. The closest they came to an arc is him leaving on a jet plane, so to speak. Right? But that was it. Because then the next movie, he's just on the next. He's just on another planet. Right. And it's like, well, how did that happen? Oh, I don't know. They
was
They
could
don't
have.
even explain his shit with Black Widow. Like his stuff with Black Widow isn't even explained. Nothing is
Yeah.
explained about the fucking Hulk. Like
Well, yeah, it's pretty
his
much killed off,
relationship
doesn't
with
it?
Black Widow is kind
Romance
of there
between
and then
Hulk
it
and
isn't
Black
there.
Widow.
It's a start. They have a start of an arc, but they never finish it.
Originally, I'm not sure if anyone remembers it, but mind you, Infinity War took out a whole bunch of shit, and they filmed a bunch of shit that they wasn't gonna put in. There was a scene of Natasha and Bruce like talking about their whole relationship and shit and what happened, and all that shit is gone out of the movie. There's many things gone out of the movie, but yeah, they hope. I'm not saying he has an arc. I'm not saying he was developed well, but whatever he's talking about here is what he got. His development.
He got that, and
He got his
that's the most
development.
important.
He didn't
That's
get
the
it
most
in solo
important thing.
movies like he wanted.
Listen,
That's the most important. That's the most important thing.
Hold on,
he
Nerd
had.
Man. Nerd
Sorry,
Man.
go on.
There's a reason the Hulk didn't get any sort of a spotlight, and that's because Marvel did not own the rights entirely. They have been shown to be petty when things like that happen. For instance, the Inhumans. For instance,
oh yeah, I remember that.
That was an entire thing where they actively buried the X-Men in favor of the Inhumans because they didn't own the movie rights to the X-Men, but they did for the Inhumans. So they spent 2015, I think it was, trying to actively bury the entire X-Men line in comic books, solely because that they weren't making a cent off of the Fox movies. The Fantastic Four. There's a reason that Secret Wars happened in 2015, and that was because, one, they wanted to bring Miles over to 616, and two, they wanted to get rid of the Fantastic Four because they felt that putting out a Fantastic Four comic book was just promoting those abysmal Fox movies. That's how petty this company is. So that is why
they have a chance to redeem themselves with the Fantastic Four movie. Hopefully, it's good.
They're so petty that Marvel Films was actively fighting Marvel TV, which is how the Inhumans went to television, and instead the Eternals got turned into a movie because they were replacing that.
Well, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like the biggest, probably the biggest example of them disavowing anything like any product that they've ever put out because they refuse to acknowledge. I think it's Kevin Feige, and I don't know if it's a power trip because he wasn't the one that did it or he was pissed that they brought back Coulson, whatever the case was, but they will refuse to acknowledge that show. And it's sad too because there are some good aspects of that show across the 6 seasons.
I think it's a power trip because he saw that. Why'd you guys put Nick Fury on this show? It's like he's a fucking director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Why wouldn't Nick
he created S.H.I.E.L.D., bro? Like
initially it wasn't Feige. It was that the racist dude. What's his name?
Wasn't there like
a Pearl something? Pearl dude. Pearl.
I'll be honest with you, Mike.
Mike.
I'll be honest with you. Ike was not letting a lot of things happen, but
could have had a Black Panther movie sooner. Could have had a Captain Marvel movie sooner. He didn't want either of those.
Well, we seen what happened with Captain Marvel under Feige, and
wasn't Feige
I would say this about Ike and Feige. Ike and Feige had kept each other at a perfect balance. Because now that Feige has full reign, we see that he's not as competent as he should have been, and a lot of the credit we was giving him was not really all of his credit.
Well, see, I keep saying that
wasn't kept him balanced. Not letting him do too much of what he wants to do. They kept each other balanced to an extent.
But wasn't there a thing where Feige was leaving after Endgame, like that? He considered that to be the end, and somebody else was going to take. They never said who would take over, but just that Feige was going to be reducing his role, and then someone else was going to, ascend or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember that. I just remember the news about him getting that new position.
Yeah, he was getting some.
I remember him getting less.
But before he got that new position, I think he was going to leave. Like
he was going to leave for Star Wars. I think originally was what it was, but then
originally, like I know there were like issues that were happening with Marvel, like between I think Ike and Feige. Like I remember a story about like Feige having problems and he did not like what Ike was doing, and like I think I remember Feige talking about this, and it's like, if you don't fix this, I'm going to leave or something like that.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong, Mike. I don't know. I don't know if he was going to be getting less. All I remember at that time was him getting that new position.
But what I'm saying though is if that were the case, it does seem like he's sort of not as hands-on as he was during the first 10 years.
Yeah, because I think Marvel Studios would have been in a better place if Ike and Feige could have got along more, because they kept a perfect balance, to me, honestly. Because Feige now has too much control, and Phase 4 to 6 is all on him. All on him. That is all his
Well,
shit.
I mean, there is a chance for
Phases 1 to 3 is Ike and Feige, but Feige has somewhat of control. A little bit more Phase 3 is him, but you know, it's like, dude,
Feige has always been trash.
It's facts. It's facts. It's not facts. These sites is not facts. It's not facts.
From after Iron Man 1, the whole MCU has been trash, and it's only because you watched it as children that you actually have some kind of
damn
that shit was good. It was trash, bro. All of
Feige has been involved with almost all of the Marvel since the X-Men days. He was associate producer.
Right, exactly.
And so,
exactly.
Oh my god!
You remember that?
Yeah, and that's a good point. People get Rosales is correct. Rosales is correct. We have to bring that up. He was part of Fantastic Four 2005. While I do like the movie, let's be real, still shit.
Your whole fucking thing in the MCU, this is it. This is like the whole thing is basically that you watch these. Most of the people who are fans of this watched these as children and thought, "Oh, that's fucking awesome! My toys are fighting each other. Look at how our toys are fighting." That's all it is.
What'd you do?